Side decking is without a doubt probably one of the most skillful things you'll ever learn in this game, and I guarantee the more you play, the more you will realize that you are going to play more games with your side deck than you will without it, and that's why videos like this are super important. What's going on, you guys? Slim here to bring you guys an awesome video all about the best side deck cards that you should be playing in your side deck this format. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. You guys will be notified whenever I upload. You guys will also be notified when I stream over on Twitch. Link is in the description. If you want to purchase any cards that you see here in this video today, please use my TCG player link. It's also in the description below. A portion of what you spend goes back to the channel. It helps me out and I really do appreciate it. And last but not least, if you want to further support this channel and support me, consider joining my Patreon. Link again in the description. I got 4 awesome tiers. They all get you crazy rewards, and hopefully you guys will enjoy if you guys decide to support the channel further. But I really wanted this to be a top 5 or a top 10 like best side deck cards, and then I realized, you know, that never works out. I always try to be really thorough in my videos. I'm an OG, so when it comes to things, I always have a lot to say. So hopefully you find this video very informative. This will help you in deciding what to build in your side decks. I'm also going to do some separate videos probably over on Patreon onto my personal side decks, depending on what deck you guys want to see, but more information will be over there on Patreon if you guys do want to support the channel in that way. But we're going to get into it. I've broken it down into multiple categories, and I want to get a couple things out of the way first, because I could sit here and talk about all the hand traps you should be siding or maining this format. I could do a completely separate video. If you guys do want to see that, smash the like button and communicate that to me in the comments, and I could talk about the hand traps you should be playing this format. It should be pretty evident, but I think some are not as evident as some people would like to think. But we're going to start with a card like Talent. So I want to get this out of the way just for the fact that this card, to me, I feel should be a main deck card. I've seen people side deck this card. I know we sided it in the Grenmaju deck. I think depending on your deck, you have to decide if you should main or side this. I personally main deck it in a lot of my decks. I just feel the card is so good. I feel it's just an injustice to not side it. To main it. However, in some decks you can side this, because if you know that you're going first or going second, you just catch your opponent when they negate something that is very strong. Again, it's super expensive. Unfortunately, they're like 100 each still, so you don't have to play it if you don't want to. I wanted to get this out of the way because I know a lot of people want to see more of the cards they can afford. And to be honest, this card to me is one of the best cards ever printed, and it's an amazing card for what it does, and it does help until we get Crossout Designator. But to me, I feel it's more of a main deck card than a side deck card, but I wanted to get that out of the way because I know people are going to be asking me about this card. I personally do not side deck this card outside of Grenmaju. I usually main deck it in most of my decks, but I think it's just a card that you guys should have access to, and if not, there's plenty of other cards you'll see that we'll present today that, you know, will fill your side deck with the 15 spots you need. But I just wanted to talk about Talents real quick because I knew it was going to come up. So I want to get the hand trap portion out really quickly. So I'm only going to show you guys 2 main hand traps, and they are Nibiru and Droll. So here's the thing. I personally feel that these are main deck worthy. We're in a format where Nibiru, Droll, they're the best, some of the best hand traps of the format. However, I have seen a lot of players do not main deck them. A lot of players choose to side deck them, and that's perfectly fine. You're not you know, I'm not going to give you any flack for not main decking them. I personally, you know, I play decks like Mech Knights or decks like Mech Knight Invoke, like decks that go second, decks that try to break board. So it's really obvious that I'm going to main deck these because they help me out. The elements also help me out, like the Light for Macabre helps out. However, I completely understand if not every deck plays these. I do see them a lot in the side deck. I feel that these are cards that need to be somewhere in your deck, in your 40 card main deck, 60 card main deck, in your 15 card side, whatever it is, these cards need to be in there somewhere. They're so impactful, this format. Even though decks like Infernoble Knight and any deck that tries to play Smoke Grenade with Vylon Cube can snipe these cards out of your hand, I feel Droll is extremely strong. You can stop your opponent early on and prevent yourself from losing it to Smoke Grenade, so that card's very strong, very good against Infernoble Knight, very good against Dragon Link. Same with Nibiru. They might Smoke Grenade it out, but maybe not. If they do play into it, you do have this option. It completely just wrecks the whole board, so it's pretty crazy. If you can hit it before they get up to their negate, you're good to go. I just wanted to get these ones out of the way because they are pretty obvious. However, a lot of decks do choose to main deck them. For the decks that don't, though, they should definitely be in your side deck. They definitely help you out in this format currently. Like I said, it's a Droll and Lock Bird format again, so make sure you guys have your Droll and Lock Birds. I wanted to talk about that. And the only real hand trap that's talk about is Artifact Lancia. So this card I think is easily one of the best side deck cards. This is a card I definitely have in my side deck right now because it's very strong against Invoke Dogmatica. Obviously, being able to stop the Invocation, being able to stop any of the banishing is very strong. It turns off Maximus, turns off a lot of cards. It also is very strong against dinosaurs. Let me tell you, stopping Miscellaneous Saurus, stopping Pills, stopping any of that is just so strong. I think this card is just great. There's also, if people are playing Orcus, if there's any kind of banishing going on, this card is great. It stops the Chaos plays from the Dragon Link deck. It stops a lot of plays in this format. I feel like whenever we're playing this card, it's very high impact, and that's what you want. You need a card that stops your opponent's turn, and I feel that's what Lancia brings to the table. So this should obviously be one of the main cards you guys have in your side deck. I don't think there's any deck that is main decking it. I've heard talk about that, but personally I feel it's just better in the side deck. And just some other obvious things. So I have just one real engine here outside of all these other side deck cards. I have one engine, and it is the Sanctum Scythe package. So this can go in tandem with the Lancia, depending on what your ratios are. I just wanted to bring this to the forefront because I feel like this is not seeing a lot of side deck play, but I feel that it really comes down to your side deck again if you are able to play this. This is such a strong engine to just shut down decks like Infernoble Knight, to shut down decks like Dragon Link, any deck that has to access or extra deck. This literally denies them that access, and I think it's very, very strong. I think that a lot of people forget just how powerful this engine is, and if your deck can afford to play it, definitely play it. You guys know that in Mech Knight Invoked or in Pure Mech Knights, we play this because they want us to go first after they see we're going second deck. You side this in, you flip Sanctum Scythe Resolves, you basically win. You buy yourself that whole turn, and then you just fight back and OTK the opponent. I don't know how many decks will actually be playing this format, but it is a very strong engine. You can also combo this with Trap Trick to have extra copies of Sanctum. I think it's just something that if your deck can play it, it gives you a budget option as opposed to cards like Triple Tactic Talents or something like that, something you want to side when going first or whatever. This gives you that option, and it gives you a very strong option against all the decks in the meta. So this was the only engine I really wanted to bring to your guys' attention. Now I'm going to break it into kind of like, I'm going to start with the Boardbreakers. So the Boardbreakers, it's not that many, but there's cards like Dark Ruler No More, and there's cards like Evenly Matched. So these are other cards I think that are very strong in this format. You could even go as far as to throw Lightning Storms in there, but I think Lightning Storms belong in the back row removal. However, I'm going to show them here because I feel like they did give you that option to break a board. So Dark Ruler to me is my personal favorite. Out of all of these cards, I love Dark Ruler just because it stops the whole board. It just completely shuts it down, and then you can just break it with your deck. Now, depending on what your deck is, I mean, if you're a dinosaur deck, you literally Dark Ruler, you just go burr on the board. I mean, you don't even need Dark Ruler to do that, but you do have the option to do so. I love that this can just fully break a board. It does lose out to Smoke Grenade, but hey, I mean, if you draw it as your next card and you Dark Ruler them, you just break their whole board. They don't have a follow-up play, so it's very strong. Evenly Matched, I think, is also very underrated, but we are seeing it in a lot of side decks because it answers a lot of things that a lot of decks do not. It's able to banish away the cards, get rid of the cards completely. They aren't coming back. They're banished face down, and a lot of decks don't have an answer to Evenly. We've seen over the formats, over the years, like how powerful Evenly has been, and I think it's also very strong in this format. So I think it's something you should consider in your side deck if you have the room and if your deck can afford to play it. Obviously, you don't deal damage, you don't have a battle phase, so really decide which one is better. I personally choose Dark Ruler because even if I can't deal damage, if I can break the whole board and get a battle phase, that's more important to me than, dealing damage, because I'll win regardless. And then Lightning Storm is very versatile because it will go into like the back row removal kind of card. So we'll move into the back row removal. This can also be considered a back row removal card. I just call this a board breaking card because it breaks more than just the back row. It breaks the front board as well. So does Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm does have that option. Like sometimes you open Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm, you just break the whole board, which is crazy, but it's an option to have. But remember that we want to focus on our board breaking cards. And then the last card I'll show real quick, I will show Droplets. Honestly, deck dependent. I know it's really expensive. You guys see the budget option in Dark Ruler and stuff like that. Obviously this is an expensive card, but this card's also there as well. It's not really a card I see in side decks. It's more of a main deck card, so that's why I'm not really going to talk about it that much. But you do have the option to play it if you want in your main deck, and if you choose to side it, you have that option as well. Personally, I think it's just a better main deck card because it has versatility. It can set up your graveyard depending on what deck you play, and it just breaks the whole board and gets past Dragoon. And that's another thing I like about Dark Ruler. You just bypass Dragoon and win. So I just wanted to mention that. But now we'll move on to your basically for your back row. So the thing is with this, like you have Lightning Storm, and then you need your budget options because I know not everyone can afford Lightning Storms. I am going to show the next best options, which are, of course, you guys should already know, are Cosmic and Twin. So not really a lot to say, obviously. I think Subterror is probably the most represented back row deck in addition to Eldritch. Cosmic Cyclone is clearly better. Being able to banish so they don't get the card back is great. I think any form of back row removal you guys have in your deck will be just fine. I'm going to show a set of cards at the end. I know you guys are probably wondering where's Storm Dust
Duster, where's Harvey's Feather Duster, where's Reboot, where's Pank. They get their own separate section of this video, but I think these cards, in any shape or form, if you have some form of back row removal to deal with Eldritch, to deal with back row decks, I think you'll be just fine. So just make sure you account for that and, dedicate the space in your side deck, because you don't want to be caught sleeping on a trap deck and then totally get destroyed because you didn't have an out. So these cards are great. Obviously helps you out, Mystic Mind as well. So any of these cards will do just fine. So we've covered that. We've covered all that. Next thing I'd like to cover is just some new kind of techie thing. It's Ice Dragon's Prison. So this card is becoming one of the most popular side deck cards in the format, and I get asked the question all the time, would I play this card? Absolutely. I think this card is very, very strong, and I think you need to realize how powerful it is against Eldritch. It's very good against Dinosaur. It's very good against a lot of decks. Being able to take a monster, being able to banish a monster is so strong. You can banish key cards. Like I heard in some videos I was watching that you can banish like the Phalanx, and it screws up like plays from the Dragon Link players. You can just take things and just disrupt their plays. Obviously good against Dinosaur, obviously good against Infernoble Knight. Like there's a lot of things that you can just take and literally just shut down your opponent's entire play. I think this card is something that needs to be tested more, and I think the more people test it, the more they'll see how powerful it is. There's a reason why the card is still going up and is almost at a $20 price tag. I think last time I checked Market Watch it was about 15 or something like that, but it keeps going up. I think it's definitely a card you guys should have in the back of your mind as a good side deck option if it's not a main deck option. Whereas we've seen some decks are main decking it. I think that it's very strong though in the side deck and something you guys should definitely consider. I kind of consider it in the techie kind of spot because of its versatility, and like you do have the option to play it. Trap decks play it, Dogmatic Invoke plays it, so certain decks will play it, and it is very strong against several decks in the format, so definitely consider it when putting together your 15 card side deck. Just some cards I'm going to show real quick, so I'm not really going to talk about these. These are just optional board breakers. I'm not a huge fan of these, to be honest. I'm gonna tell you guys why. I think by the time you get to Sphere mode, it's probably gonna get ripped out of your hand by a Smoke Grenade or by something, and I feel that this is good but not good enough. I love Gamma Seal, I love kaiju monsters in general. However, just going 1-for-1 on a monster, if you can't break the rest of the board, doesn't feel that strong to me. Now granted, you can do what you want, like if you don't have the more expensive board breaking cards. I just think that these cards, they are very good, but I think that because of Smoke Grenade, because of all the hand rip, because of all the hand knowledge that your opponent has, I feel like these cards are just lackluster. However, I could be wrong. The more you test them, the more you may see that they are strong against certain decks. I just personally don't care for them. When building my 50 card side deck, these would be the very last resort if I had room for them at all, but I want to give you guys all the options possible, so there are these options. You can also throw Lava Golem in there. There's a lot of crazy cards, but last but not least, now this is another thing. I've decided, if you guys want to see another video on this, I will talk about this. There is the Trinity in Yu-Gi-Oh! People know, Pot of Greed, Graceful Charity, Delinquent Duo. There's multiple versions of the Trinity, and I personally feel that this is the Trinity in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. It's the power 1-ofs, which are Pregatops, Harpy's Feather Duster, and Red Reboot. These are the last cards I'm going to talk about for today's video. I think these cards are 100% mandatory. 100%, and I'm not exaggerating. I think these cards should be in your side deck 100% if they're not in your main deck. Now granted, these are cards that most likely will be in your side deck, but I think they definitely guarantee a spot. Like you build a side deck right now, you're at 12 cards, because these 3 cards are that good. Pankratops, I can't even say his name half the time. Pankratops is literally the best card right now. This card is so powerful. It's so strong. Like it just going second, just drop this card. It's so versatile. It can out cards that not many decks can. And I think it's easily one of the best cards in the game. Harpy's Feather Duster, obviously for the back row, it's a one-sided sweep. Like why would you not play it? And Red Reboot can be game, so why would you not play it? These cards are without a doubt the most staple side deck cards in my personal opinion. I know as other players' personal opinions this format. I think whenever you start your side deck, write these 3 cards down and tell yourself you have 12 more cards and you'll be good to go. But that's pretty much everything for today's video, you guys. I really hope you guys did enjoy it. If you guys want me to make a video on why I feel these are the Trinity, the new Trinity of the 2020 format, let me know. Communicate that to me in the comments below. Again, if you want to see a hand trap, more in-depth hand trap video for this format, I can also do that as well. I just wanted to give you guys a little break from all the deck profiles, but the deck profiles will be returning. We're going to have an updated Mech Knight Invoked, because you guys know I keep updating that deck like every month, every couple weeks, just to keep up with the meta. But I really like these side deck cards. I think are super important. I think you guys should always remember how important your side deck is, and the more you practice, the more you keep getting your ratios down, the more you'll realize I'm
I'm going to play a lot more games with my side deck. I need to optimize it for optimal performance. But that's everything for today, you guys. Thank you guys for all your continued support. If you enjoyed the video, please smash that like button. Let me know cards that you are side decking. I'm sure I missed some side deck cards, some pretty awesome side deck cards that I probably don't have access to. I know I didn't mention cards like a Pointer of the Red Lotus and stuff like that. Those are optional as well. You can mention that in the comments below and other cards that you're siding that you guys really like. But that's everything for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.